There's this trend that is really taking place across the world that's very menacing. And in a lot of ways, my country played a critical role in fueling and in framing it. And that is to try and target and attack those people who expose wrongdoing on the part of the most powerful factions. And it's really interesting whenever I'm in Canada and I talk a little bit about the United States and our politics, I'm actually very comforted because I do find the situation in Canada to be somewhat analogous to some of the difficulty that I have in the United States when I talk about politics in the United States. Because here in Canada, you have a Prime Minister currently who is really good at giving very pretty speeches. And he himself is very pretty. And he's very good at doing things like hugging refugees in front of cameras. And so people around the world, I know in the United States especially, are very enamored of him and have a really hard time believing that he actually does anything bad or wrong. And I have friends here in Canada, both on the left and the right, and they're driven crazy by this. They say, look, we know what his image is, but he actually does some bad things that merit criticism. Don't be fooled by that. And the reason I say I'm comforted by that is because we also had a president of the United States, before the current one, who also gave really pretty speeches and also was very pretty and did things very adeptly, like hugging refugees in front of cameras. And so people around the world had a hard time believing that he did bad things as well. And yet one of the things that he did that really has fueled a lot of what we just watched in this video was he pioneered all new ways of persecuting and attacking whistleblowers, activists, and journalists who are exposing wrongdoing at the highest level. And this is now spread around the world in very intensive ways because when the United States sanctions those kind of abuses, it becomes much easier for other countries to carry them out as well. And the reason that 2 of the 3 finalists are not able to be here tonight is because they have been so threatening in their work to the most powerful factions that they're literally precluded from leaving their countries. And notwithstanding all the persecution they've endured, going to prison, having their assets frozen, being barred from leaving the country, I think the treatment that they received would have been a lot worse. And in fact, they themselves both said it. Aziz Salman in Egypt and Ms. Ismailova said it as well in Azerbaijan, that had it not been for the international pressure placed on their governments, the punishments and persecutions that had been imposed on them would have been much more severe. And so I think it is critical that we not look at anti-corruption crusaders and people fighting against those who are deceitful and those engaged in wrongdoing as being confined to their own country. It's critical that we have the kind of international framework that has arisen in other areas. And that's why I really do genuinely say this, that I'm honored to be part of an event that isn't devoted just to honoring anti-corruption crusaders, but to constructing and fortifying a framework that really does protect them and enable the work to proceed much more safely.